Hello, everybody. This is The Poison Tree by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. Chapter 4, Tara Charan. The poet Kalidas was supplied with flowers by a Malini. He, being a poor Brahmin, could not pay for the flowers, but in place of that he used to read some of his own verses to the Malini. One day there bloomed in the Malini's tank a lily of unparalleled beauty. Plucking it, the Malini offered it to Kalidas. As a reward, the poet read to her some verses from the Meghaduta. That poem is an ocean of wit, but everyone knows that its opening lines are tasteless. The Malini did not relish them, and being annoyed, she rose to go. The poet asked, "Oh, friend Malini, are you going?" "Your verses have no flavor," replied the Malini. "Malini, you'll never reach heaven." "Why so?" "There's a staircase to heaven. By ascending millions of steps, heaven is reached. My poem has also a staircase. These tasteless verses are the steps. If you can't climb these few steps, how will you ascend the heavenly ladder?" The Malini then, in fear of losing heaven through the Brahmin's curse, listened to the Meghaduta from beginning to end. She admired the poem, and next day, binding a wreath of flowers in the name of Cupid, she crowned the poet's temples therewith. This ordinary poem of mine is not heaven, neither has it a staircase of 1,000,000 steps. Its flavor is faint and the steps are few. These few tasteless chapters are the staircase. If among my readers there's one of the Malini's disposition, I warn him that without climbing these steps he will not arrive at the pith of the story. Surjamukhi's father's house was in Konagar. Her father was a kyasta of good position. He was cashier in some house in Calcutta. Surjamukhi was his only child. In her infancy, a Kaisa widow named Srimati lived in her father's house as a servant, and looked upon Surjamukhi. Srimati had one child named Tara Charan, of the same age as Surjamukhi. With him Surjamukhi had played, and on account of this childish association she felt towards him the affection of a sister. Srimati was a beautiful woman, and therefore soon fell into trouble. A wealthy man of the village of evil character, having cast his eyes upon her, she forsook the house of Surjamukhi's father. Whither she went no one exactly knew, but she did not return. Tara Charan, forsaken by his mother, returned in the house of Surjamukhi's father, who was a very kind-hearted man, and brought up this deserted boy as his own child, not keeping him in slavery as an unpaid servant, but having him taught to read and write. Tara Charan learned English at the free mission school. Afterwards, Surjamukhi was married, and some years later her father died. By this time, Tara Charan had learned English after a clumsy fashion, but he was not qualified for any business. Rendered homeless by the death of Surjamukhi's father, he went to her house. At her instigation, Nagendra opened a school in the village, and Tara Charan was appointed master. Nowadays, by means of the grant-and-aid system in many villages, sleek-haired, song-singing, harmless Master Babus appeared. But at that time such a being as a Master Babu was scarcely to be seen. Consequently, Tara Charan appeared as one of the village gods, especially as it was known in the bazaar that he had read The Citizen of the World, The Spectator, and 3 books of Euclid. On account of these gifts he was received into the Brahmo Samaj of Debendra Babu, the Zamandar of Debepur, and reckoned as one of Babu's retinue. Tara Charan wrote many essays on widow marriage, on the education of women, and against idol worship, read them weekly in the Samaj, and delivered many discourses beginning with, "O most merciful God." Some of these he took from the Tattva Bodhini, and some he caused to be written for him by the school in Pandit. He was forever preaching, "Abandon idol worship, give choice in marriage, give women education. Why do you keep them shut up in a cage? Let women come out." And there was a special cause for this liberality on the subject of women, inasmuch as in his own house there was no woman. Up to this time he had not married. Surjamukhi had made great efforts to get him married, but as his mother's story was known in Gavanpur, no respectable Kaista consented to give him his daughter. Many a common, disreputable Kaista girl he might have had, but Surjamuki regarded Tara Charan as a brother, would not give her consent, since she did not choose to call such a girl sister-in-law. While she was seeking for a respectable Kaista girl, Nagendra's letter came, describing Kunda Nandini's gifts and beauty. She resolved to give her to Tara Charan in marriage.